Welcome to Math Antics. In this lesson, we're going to learn about ratios. Well, what in the world's a ratio? Well, let's look it up in a math book to find out. It says here that a ratio is a comparison of two numbers by division. Well, that's true, but it's also a little confusing. And it's confusing because most of us think of comparing numbers as trying to decide if a number is greater than, less than, or equal to another number. But with ratios, we're not trying to compare numbers like that. Instead, we're really trying to see how two numbers relate to each other. And so at Math Antics, we like to think of ratios as a relationship between two numbers by division. Okay, but how do you compare or show how two numbers are related by division? Well, to see what the by division part really means, let's look at an example of a ratio. Excuse me, that's not a ratio, that's a fraction. Oh, it's a ratio all right. Mathematically, ratios and fractions are basically the same thing. It's just that when we use a fraction in a particular way, we call it a ratio. Well, sure, everybody knows that. Well, like I was saying, ratios are basically just like fractions. The difference is how we use them to describe things in the real world. To see what I mean, let's look at examples of how we could use the fraction 1 over 2 and the ratio 1 over 2. Mathematically, these are both the same thing. They're just the division problem 1 divided by 2. But in the case of the fraction, we usually treat it as if it's just a single number. For example, at lunchtime, you might eat 1 sandwich, or if you're really hungry, you might eat 2 sandwiches. But if you're not very hungry, you might just have half a sandwich. We can use the fraction 1/2, just like we use 1 or 2 to show how many sandwiches you eat. It's just that in the case of 1/2, we know that it's only part of a sandwich, just a fraction of one. Now let's see how we can use the ratio 1 over 2. With a ratio, we don't treat it as if it's just a single number. Instead, we pay close attention to the top and bottom numbers because we use them to refer to different things. For example, let's say we're planning to go on a picnic. And for every 2 people that are going on the picnic, we're only bringing 1 sandwich. In that case, we'd say that the ratio of sandwiches to people is 1 to 2, or 1 sandwich per 2 people. Do you see the difference between our fraction and our ratio? The math part of each of them is the same. But with the fraction, both the top and bottom numbers are referring to the same thing, the sandwich. However, with the ratio, the top and bottom numbers